2 of the BBC's controversial documentary, The Princes and the Press, has just aired in the UK. The doco covering everything from Harry and Meghan's departure from royal life to shining a spotlight on the relationship between the media and the monarchy.
Let us go live to Barbados. I've always wanted to say that, with Daily Mirror royal editor Russell Myers. Hope you're having fun there, mate. What was revealed in part 2 of this doco?
Morning, Dickie. Morning, Belinda. Well, I think, I've just watched it out in Barbados. We'll come to that in a minute. But I think it was a bit of a damp squib, to be honest. I think a lot of people were really hoping that there were going to be some real explosive details. But what did we see? We saw the fractiousness of the relationship between Princes William and Harry, and really down into the detail of how Harry and Meghan made their exit from the royal family. And I think that the thing that the documentary tried to explain was the real turning point in their attitude to wanting to stay in the royal family was the birth of their son. And I think, we've spoken about this before, about how Harry and Meghan sort of pulled up the drawbridge. They didn't really want anything to do with the media and indeed the institution of the monarchy. So there was a bit of explanation about how they went about it. Obviously, a lot of controversy that has been poured over time and time again. But most interestingly, I think, in the documentary was that for the first time we heard from Meghan's team, and her lawyer, a lady called Jenny Afia, actually took on the bullying investigations that we know are being investigated by a third party attached to Buckingham Palace. And she was basically calling them a work of fiction. They're saying that there were several inaccuracies of these claims by former staff members at the palace. So this is very, very interesting. We don't know what is going on with that investigation at the moment. But I know people who have spoken to those staff members who believe that they were bullied by the Duchess of Sussex, and they have a very, very different story to tell. So I'm sure it's going to be played out in due course.
Well, we know Harry is very protective of his wife and very defensive. And so, also the whole fallout of Prince William and Prince Harry, we'd hoped that time would help heal things. But how did it portray that relationship?
Well, again, the interesting dynamic of it was the fact that the brothers were headed on very, very different paths. And I think that what the documentary did actually explain quite well was when the papers, the newspapers, the broadcasters were super excited to have Meghan and Harry front and centre. And, of course, the royal family were as well. But something happened in that interim period, and Harry and Meghan decided that they didn't want to be part of it, and that led to the fractiousness of the brothers' relationship as well. And I think one of the main points of that was when Harry and Meghan sort of torpedoed their own tour in South Africa in 2019 and decided that they would drop a bombshell accusing the press of all sorts of misdemeanours that certainly didn't go down well with Prince William and didn't go well down at the palace either. And that's not the way that things are normally done. And of course, we know these two have forged their own path, and it's been pretty messy along the way for most of the time.
Part 1 of the documentary wasn't received very well. Royal lawyers not ruling out legal action. Do you think they would take the BBC on in court over this?
No, I don't think so. I think there was a lot made about it, or what could happen. And I think that the real issue may have been worries about whether this sort of exposed the relationship between the palaces and the press. Of course, listen, there's always going to be some sort of cooperation. You get it in the politics world, the business world. And I think that they were probably more concerned with the sort of relationships being exposed on a tawdry level. But I don't think that happened. I think that it was kind of explained by the correspondents who took part in the documentary about that, the fact that the real issues at hand were Harry and Meghan and a family at war, to be honest, and the rest is history, as it were.
Yeah, it's still quite fractious. We need to explain why you're in Barbados, Russell, not just for a holiday, but Prince Charles has just arrived there. The country is preparing to become a republic.
It is. Well, I wouldn't mind coming back here on holiday. It's an absolutely beautiful island, and it's been a carnival atmosphere. And the pictures you're seeing of Prince Charles arriving on the RAF Voyager to Bridgetown last night. And, of course, Barbados has voted to become a republic, and the ceremony is going to be in a matter of hours. Prince Charles was invited, and he's going to be making quite an important speech, I think. And obviously, it's a big deal that the Barbadians have decided to step away as a realm with the Queen of Head of State. And of course, what does that mean for the others? I mean, could you guys be next? Could the other 15 realms follow suit to Barbados? It might be one to watch, that's for sure.
Yeah, it could be the tip of the iceberg. We were hoping to see you in board shorts in front of a palm tree holding a Mai Tai today, Russell. But look, speaking of Charles, he's apparently called his lawyers over those claims that he was the royal racist mentioned in the Oprah interview. You know, apparently we know what he said to Camilla over breakfast one day. I don't know how they find that out. But what's the latest on that?
Well, this is a book that is only going to be published in America. It is by an author called Christopher Anderson, who really isn't known in royal circles, but he's wrote a number of books which I don't believe are too popular. However, it's called Brothers and Wives: Inside the Private Lives of William and Kate, Harry and Meghan. A rather wordy title, but he has claimed that Prince Charles made those comments about the complexion of Harry and Meghan's unborn children, and he made them sort of in a hushed tone to Camilla. Camilla reacted and said, of course the children would be beautiful, and then sort of Charles allegedly doubled down on it. So I don't believe that this is the case. I mean, people I've spoken to at Clarence House have called this work a complete work of fiction and not worthy of further comment. And I think that my understanding is that Clarence House have spoken to lawyers, and I think that if these claims are mentioned again, that we could see it taken particularly further. But I think for the moment they're not going to give them the air of publicity and option of publicity.
That would seem to be the
More
case.
to come on that one.
Yeah, Russell, thank you for your time today. You have fun over there, mate.
We'll let you get back to work.
Say hi to Charles for us.
Yeah,
Thank you.
For more, let's bring in former Palace Press Secretary Dickie Arbiter in London. Dickie, always good to have you on. So you're watching this right now. What do you make of it today?
Thanks. Well, what I make of it at the moment is, and it is still on, there's still another 20 minutes to go, is that it is very much about Harry and Meghan, about their rift, about how Meghan's popularity dived after the tour of South Africa. Remember, before that, the press coverage was so positive, it was unbelievable. But it dived after the end of South Africa because they announced that they were going to sue the British press for invasion of privacy. Harry's always been anti-press. He accuses the press and lumps them all as one, as having killed his mother. Well, the paparazzi in France, they were responsible. They were chasing the car, and that's history, and we know what happened. But don't put all the eggs into one basket and accuse everybody. Also, suggestions that Palace were briefing. Well, I know from my own day, we didn't brief about one member or another. That was strictly off limits from our point of view. But what was happening is that Diana, for example, would phone a newspaper editor. Charles's friends would speak out in his defence. But, to suggest that the household and the courtiers are briefing the media is absolute nonsense. But this is what it's majoring on.
Have we learned more in this second part of the documentary about the rift between Harry and William and exactly what has driven the wedge between them?
Well, what we have learned from one journalist who telephoned Buckingham Palace quite some time ago, because, quite frankly, when Harry and Meghan were in this country and they were thrown together to William and Catherine, the body language was sort of so open that you could write your own story on it. And one of the journalists did contact the palace and say, what is the relationship? And he was told that it is not good and it is worrying William. And yes, it did worry William. I mean, we've seen pictures time and time again before they left the UK of them together at various events. And the hostility between the two is unimaginable. Well, hostility coming from one quarter and William just ignoring it.
Well, I'm sure we'll be poring over the last 20 minutes of this documentary in days to come, Dickie. But in the meantime, the Queen's reign over Barbados is coming to an end today. Prince Charles is there as the island country is transitioning to a republic. This is the end of an era, really.
Well, it is the end of an era, but the Queen is pragmatic and knows that that's the way things go. It happened in the 60s when various British territories became republics. You had a referendum in '99. You could have gone a republic, but you didn't. You might do in the future. But Queen is pragmatic. She knows that that sort of thing does happen. It doesn't mean to say that ties between the monarchy and Barbados are going to die. The Queen is head of the Commonwealth. Barbados will remain a very key member of the Commonwealth. So it's not necessarily business as usual, but business will still be done.
Perhaps a bigger headache for Prince Charles is the fact that he's had to call in lawyers over claims of racism in the royal family. What can you tell us about this?
Well, you know, there is so much about this alleged racism, and it all stems from that Oprah interview when you got Harry and Meghan both not reading off the same script. Meghan claiming that this came about when she was pregnant. Harry said it came about before they got married, so when did it happen? There isn't racism in the royal family. I mean, you look at the family, they travel the world, they travel to countries where there are all sorts of ethnic groups, they employ people of all ethnicity. So to suggest that they are racist is absolute nonsense. But it's out there in the marketplace. They've been accused by Harry and Meghan, and they're going to have to deal with it.
Yeah.
OK, well, Dickie Arbiter, I tell you what, we're definitely listening to you on this one, and we're keen to hear how this all wraps up and what you think of the end result of this documentary. I'm sure we'll talk in the next few days.
Thanks,
See you,
Dickie.
Dickie.
See you soon.